Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Ethereum has seen another rejection from this exact moving average, showing us that the bears are still in control of the short-term trend. With that being said, Ethereum is still holding above some of these other important support levels, but we have a brand new chart that I will be discussing towards the end of this video that potentially reveals Ethereum's next major move. So definitely make sure you're watching this video all the way to the end so that you're not missing out on any of this important information. And just before we jump into it, make sure to hit the like down below. And if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Ethereum to US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame. And as you can see here, Ethereum was previously forming this descending broadening wedge pattern, which technically speaking is a bullish pattern, which means that it is more likely to break out to the upside. And that's exactly what we did here. But obviously, Ethereum failed to hold above this previous point of resistance because we got two rejections from the 95 exponential moving average, which by the way, at that time was coming in at around 4.4k, and that is something that I let you know about yesterday on the channel. I said that it would obviously be bullish if we can finally get above 4.4k, and in that case it's very likely would continue to play out the price target for this pattern. But I said if we cannot break above that important moving average, then we could possibly be targeting some of these lower levels, because by the way, for any of the new viewers out there, this moving average right here was huge support for Ethereum throughout this previous uptrend on the charts. And so the fact that Ethereum has broken below this moving average and now confirmed it as resistance, this is obviously a bearish sign, at least in the immediate short term. So this basically means that the bears are still in control in the immediate short term, because right now the bears have been able to defend these lines of resistance, while the bulls in this case just here have not been able to defend these lines of support. But with that being said, zooming out to the 12-hour time frame for Ethereum, one line of support that Ethereum is still holding above is this level right here, which is the 38.2% Fibonacci level, coming in just below 4.1k. Just providing a quick recap for the new viewers on the channel. Basically, I was looking at this major support level since Ethereum was all the way back up here at around 4.7k. At that stage, I basically said that yes, Ethereum is still in an uptrend, but if we break below this level just here, coming in at around 4.6k, I said in that case, then I would be looking towards this exact level as major support for Ethereum, and then I would expect a sideways consolidation. And as you can see here, that's basically exactly what has played out. And if you're looking at the current price action to the September price action, we are still playing out this correction extremely similar to the September correction, because remember that first move to the downside back in September also pulled back to the exact 38.2% Fibonacci level, where we saw a sideways consolidation for around a week before one more leg to the downside, straight into this exact 120-day SMA, which is right now coming in close to 3.6k. So I'm not saying that Ethereum is definitely going to go down to those levels, because obviously nothing is guaranteed in these markets. But if Ethereum breaks below this level to form a brand new lower low on the chart, which by the way would have to break below this low right here, coming in at around 3.9k, and so only in that case, if we're forming a new lower low, then it would be very likely would trend down towards around 3.6k to 3.7k approximately. And keep in mind, this moving average is obviously changing all the time. So let's just say if we took another week to come down towards that level, then it could be coming in at more like 3.7k. But one thing that is playing out a little bit differently from the September correction is the RSI. As you can see right now, the RSI on the 12-hour chart on this correction so far has gotten as low as around 30, the very bottom of this purple band in the RSI, whereas the September correction on that first move to the downside, we only made it down towards around 34 approximately. And then the second leg to the downside, which was the final move to the downside before we bottomed out, that was the move that took the RSI down towards 30, which is where we have just been at. So when you're taking that into consideration, that does increase the possibility of this being the low for the correction. But as always, it's important to remain flexible on the charts and not bet everything on just one thing playing out. So my Ethereum strategy right now, I've already shared it on the channel, but for the new viewers on the channel, basically I'm slowly dollar cost averaging into Ethereum right now, while still setting aside some stable coins. So if we do end up playing out that move to the downside, at least I could take advantage of that move. But if we don't and we start to bottom out here, then once again, I would have already dollar cost averaged into these prices and taken advantage of this correction so far. But obviously none of that is financial advice. That's just giving you an inside look of my personal Ethereum strategy. Now zooming out to the 2-day time frame for Ethereum, and you can clearly see on this chart that we are still in an uptrend. And so all of this bearish price action that we're seeing in the short term is simply just that, only in the short term. But just bringing out to the price oscillators on this chart. First of all, looking in the 2-day RSI for Ethereum, as you can see, we are forming a huge symmetrical triangle pattern right now. And at the moment, this level of support is coming in at around 47 approximately, and this level of resistance is coming in at approximately 68. And so if the relative strength index drops below this line of support, that would mean that the relative strength of Ethereum is getting weaker weaker if we break this level, and that could potentially act as a signal of more bearish price action to come. And then obviously it's the exact opposite if we hold this level and break above this point of resistance. Now looking in the 2-day MACD for Ethereum, and as you can see here, we've seen a bearish cross, and that basically shows us that Ethereum has bearish momentum in the shorter term. Now when it comes to the bearish and bullish crosses in the 2-day MACD for Ethereum, at least just in the example of September, we had around a 2-week delay, because using the September correction as an example and looking in the RSI, as you can see here, we hit the bottom in the RSI right here, but we did not see a bullish cross in the MACD until around here, but we did not see a bullish cross in the MACD on this 2-hour time frame until around here. And in that time period, as you can see, the RSI was moving to the upside and the price was basically already bottomed out at that stage. And if you're measuring the difference between those two lines, that was around 2 weeks exactly. So now placing a vertical line right here at this low that we've seen so far in the RSI, bouncing along this upwards trending line of support. And this here is just a bit of speculation, but measuring out 2 weeks from this line just here, that would put us towards the beginning of December, towards the beginning of next month. So what does that actually mean for Ethereum? Well, it means that if we are to continue a similar correction like what we saw back in September, then possibly over the next 2 weeks approximately, we could be due for a little bit more bearish price action or some sort of sideways consolidation before we start to enter a bit more of a recovery next month. But once again, that's only going off what we saw back in September, and that also relies on the fact that we're holding above this line of support right here in the 2-day RSI. And while we're on the Ethereum to US dollar charts on the 2-day time frame, what's very interesting is if we overlay the US stock market, specifically the Dow Jones, which is represented by this yellow line right here, what we can see is the fact that there is extremely high correlation between the Dow Jones right now and Ethereum. On almost every single pullback that we see in the Dow Jones, we also see that for Ethereum. Same with the pumps back to the upside and the corrections again to the downside. Right now, Ethereum is simply very correlated to the Dow Jones. This can also be displayed in the correlation coefficient indicator. And looking in this indicator right now, we're currently at a correlation of 85%, which means at the moment, Ethereum is heading in the exact same direction as the Dow Jones 85% of the time. But what we could see over the last 2 weeks approximately is a very slight downtrend in the correlation between these two, which, believe it or not, is actually a little bit of a warning signal, because simply looking at all of these other times where the correlation has fell off quite a lot between Ethereum and the Dow Jones, historically that has come just before bearish price action. For example, during January this year, Ethereum was highly correlated to the Dow Jones, and then we had a steep drop off in the correlation at the very beginning of February. And what happened next was a pullback in the price of Ethereum not too far away. Looking at the time after that, we had a very high correlation back in April this year. And once again, having a high correlation between these two, that was a bullish signal, at least back then, because just around the corner was a lot of bullish price action, at least up until the point that the correlation started dropping off quite a lot, because at that point right there, that signaled to us that we were due for a lot of bearish price action that came next for Ethereum. We saw the exact same thing back here at the very beginning of September. The correlation started dropping off quite a lot even before the September correction. And right now we are seeing a slight decrease in the correlation, but nothing major just yet. But this is definitely something that I'm keeping an eye on right now, because if we see a further drop off to the downside in the correlation coefficient between Ethereum and the Dow Jones, then simply looking at all of these other times on the charts, that could potentially signal a little bit more bearish price action coming into play for Ethereum before then we start to bottom out and head into a recovery. And if you want to get extra updates throughout the day on the crypto markets, definitely make sure you follow me over on my Twitter, because I post all of these real-time updates throughout the day and also extra altcoin content that I might not even be covering on this channel. For example, how my Elrond position is exploding to the upside, which is obviously happening not long after I told you it's one of my top altcoin holdings on the channel around 2 weeks ago. And by the way, you'll find a link to my official Twitter account in the description down below and also in the pinned comment. But anyway, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed or got something valuable out of this video, make sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. As always, I really do appreciate all of your support on the channel at the moment. I can't thank you guys enough. And before clicking off, make sure you're checking out one of these uploads if you haven't already, because these videos can potentially help you make a lot more money in the crypto markets. But anyway, that is really everything I have to say for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.